The Chen Protocol. A. Frank Murray Investigation. Season 2, Episode 8. Narrated by Frank Murray, Private Investigator. The name's Frank Murray, Private Investigator. 16 years in this business, and I've learned that hope is the most dangerous thing you can carry into a case. Hope makes you careless. Hope makes you believe that this time, finally, the good guys will win clean. Hope gets people killed. Ambassador Chen Wei arrived in Los Angeles on a Tuesday morning. Sarah and I met him at a safe house Catherine Walsh had arranged, a nondescript rental in Culver City, with FBI agents positioned on every corner. Chen Wei was in his late 50s, distinguished in the way career diplomats are, but his eyes carried the weight of terrible knowledge. Mr. Murray, Detective Murray. He shook our hands with the formal precision of someone who'd spent decades in diplomatic circles. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me. Thank you for coming forward, I said. What you're doing takes courage. Courage. He smiled sadly. I think you mean desperation. Mr. Murray, I have spent 30 years representing my country with honor, and in one moment of weakness, I allowed Richard Pemberton to corrupt that service. I helped a monster escape justice because he threatened my family. Catherine Walsh was setting up recording equipment in the next room. We're ready when you are, Ambassador. We sat down. Chen Wei pulled out a leather folder thick with documents. Before we begin, he said, I must know my family, my wife and 2 daughters. Pemberton knows I am here. He will move against them. We have agents protecting them, Catherine said. They're in a secure location. Pemberton can't reach them. You don't understand what Pemberton is capable of. He has resources you cannot imagine, connections in governments across the world. He told me once that he can make anyone disappear anywhere on Earth. Chen Wei's hand shook slightly. If something happens to my family, nothing will happen to them, I said. We won't let it. Chen Wei studied my face, then nodded. Very well. Then let me tell you about Project Chrysalis Global. Over the next 3 hours, he told us everything. Pemberton had approached him 6 months ago, shortly after the Boston incident, offered substantial donation to a charity Chen Wei's wife ran. In exchange, Chen Wei would provide diplomatic cover for Pemberton's economic research. I thought it was legitimate. Chen Wei said, Pemberton showed me business plans, research proposals, letters from scientists. It seemed like cutting-edge biomedical work. When did you realize it wasn't? Sarah asked. 2 months ago. Pemberton invited me to tour a facility in Guangzhou. He said it would help me understand the scope of the project. Chen Wei's face went pale. What I saw there, Mr. Murray, they had hundreds of people, rural villagers recruited with promises of free health care, all being subjected to genetic modifications without informed consent. He pulled photographs from his folder. Research facilities in China that made the Georgia operation look like a small pilot program. Rows of hospital beds, medical equipment, and people, so many people, all being used as test subjects. How many? Catherine asked quietly. At the Guangzhou facility alone, 300. And Pemberton has 4 other facilities in various stages of construction. He plans to modify thousands of people within the next year. To what end? I asked, what's the goal? Chen Wei pulled out another document. This is Pemberton's proposal to the Chinese government. He's offering to create an enhanced military force. Soldiers with superior healing, enhanced cognition, increased strength and speed. An army that could dominate conventional forces. Sarah and I exchanged looks. This was worse than we'd imagined. The Chinese government approved this? Catherine asked. Certain elements within the military establishment are very interested. They see it as a way to achieve military superiority without nuclear escalation. Chen Wei leaned forward. But Mr. Murray, you must understand, this is not official government policy. This is a small group of military hardliners working with Pemberton in secret. If the party leadership knew about this, they would shut it down immediately. Why? I asked. If it gives them military advantage. Because the modifications are unstable. Pemberton's subjects have a 50% mortality rate within the first year. The survivors experience neurological deterioration, organ failure, and in some cases, complete psychological collapse. He spread more photographs. These are the failures. The people who died or went insane because of what Pemberton did to them. The images were horrific. People in hospital beds, bodies racked with seizures. Autopsy photos showing organs that had essentially liquefied. Psychological evaluation reports describing complete personality disintegration. 50% mortality, Sarah said. And he's planning to do this to thousands of people? He believes he can improve the success rate with more data, more test subjects, more refinement of the protocols. Chen Wei's voice was hollow. He told me that acceptable losses in pursuit of human evolution were a small price to pay. He's insane, Catherine said. No, he's a sociopath with unlimited resources and government protection. Chen Wei pulled out financial records. These documents show Pemberton's entire operation. Shell companies in 17 countries. Bank accounts holding over $2 billion. Facilities in China, Russia, Brazil, and several African nations. He's not just running Project Chrysalis. He's building a global empire of human experimentation. I studied the documents. The scope was staggering. We'd thought Pemberton was a criminal trying to rebuild after losses. We'd been wrong. He was an empire builder, and we'd barely scratched the surface. Why come forward now? I asked. You said he threatened your family. What changed? Chen Wei was silent for a long moment. Then, 3 days ago, my younger daughter visited one of Pemberton's facilities in China. She's a medical student doing volunteer work. She didn't know the facility was connected to Pemberton. She thought she was helping provide health care to underserved populations. What happened? Sarah asked gently. She saw what was being done. The modifications, the failures, the deaths. She called me, terrified, saying she'd witnessed human rights violations on a massive scale. His voice cracked. Pemberton found out she'd seen the failures. He told me that unless I continued providing diplomatic cover, my daughter would become a test subject herself. The room went silent. He threatened to genetically modify your daughter, I said, to make an example of her, to show me what happens when people betray him. Chen Wei looked up with haunted eyes. I realized then that there is no negotiating with a monster, no compromise that will protect my family. The only way to save them is to destroy him completely. Catherine leaned forward. Ambassador, with what you've given us, we can do exactly that. Financial records, facility locations, government contacts. This is everything we need to dismantle Pemberton's entire operation and put him in prison for life. If you can catch him, Chen Wei said, he is planning to leave the United States tomorrow. A private flight to Beijing, where he will be untouchable. Not if we arrest him first, Catherine said. Where is he now? I don't know, but he is scheduled to call me at 6 p.m. today to discuss final arrangements for his departure. Catherine's phone rang. She answered, listened, and her face went white. When? A pause. How many casualties? Another pause. Understood. We're on our way. She hung up and looked at us. There's been an attack on the safe house where Chen Wei's family was being protected. Multiple agents down. The family is missing. Chen Wei stood so fast his chair fell over. No, you said they were safe. How did Pemberton find them? Sarah demanded. I don't know, but he has them, and he's sending us a message. Catherine showed us her phone. A text from an unknown number, with a photograph. Chen Wei's wife and daughters, bound and blindfolded, in what looked like a warehouse. Below the photo, the Chen protocol requires leverage. Ambassador, you have until 6 p.m. to reconsider your testimony. After that, your family becomes Phase 4. Phase 4, I said. Chen Wei sank back into his chair, all the life gone from his eyes. His final phase, the one he told me about in confidence. Involuntary modification of political targets and their families, using genetic alteration as a weapon of control. He's going to modify your family, Sarah said. Turn them into test subjects. Or kill them if the modifications fail, which they will. 50% mortality rate, remember? Chen Wei put his head in his hands. I thought I could save them by testifying. Instead, I condemned them. I looked at Catherine. Can you track the photo? Find where they're being held. We're already trying. But Pemberton's good at hiding. It could take hours. Days. We don't have days. We have until 6 p.m. That's 8 hours. Frank, Sarah said quietly, even if we find them, Pemberton will have security. Armed guards. Maybe enhanced guards if he's been modifying his own people. Then we go in with everything we have. I turned to Catherine. How many agents can you mobilize? For a hostage rescue? Maybe 20, if I pull everyone from other assignments. Do it. Sarah and I will coordinate with your tactical team. Frank, you and Sarah aren't trained for this. This is an FBI operation. With respect, Catherine, your agents are trained for normal hostage situations, not for genetically modified guards with enhanced reflexes and strength. Sarah and I have fought Pemberton's people before. We know what we're up against. Catherine looked like she wanted to argue. Then she nodded. Fine, but you follow our tactical lead. Clear. Clear. She started making calls. Sarah pulled out her phone and called Miles. Miles, we need you to find a location from a photograph. Sending it now. While they worked, I sat with Chen Wei. The man looked broken, all his diplomatic composure shattered. They're going to die because of me, he whispered. No, they're in danger because of Pemberton. You did the right thing by coming forward. The right thing? He laughed bitterly. I let my family be kidnapped. I helped a monster escape justice in Boston. I ignored warning signs about his research because he was donating money to my wife's charity. Where was the right thing in any of that? You're here now. You're testifying. You're trying to stop him. Too late. Always too late. He looked at me. Mr. Murray, I read about your sister. About how it took you 16 years to solve her murder. Do you ever think about what you could have done differently? How you could have saved her? The question hit harder than I expected. Caroline, 15 years dead. 16 years of my life spent hunting her killer. Every day, I said honestly, every single day. Does it get easier? No, but you learn to carry it, and you learn to fight harder for the people you can still save. Chen Wei nodded slowly. Then help me save my family. Please. We will. I promise. Miles called back 30 minutes later. I've got something. The photo's metadata was scrubbed, but I found background details that helped narrow it down. The warehouse has specific architectural features. Corrugated metal roof, industrial lighting fixtures, concrete pillars with particular spacing, cross-referencing with commercial real estate databases in the LA area. We waited while he typed. Got it. 3 possible locations. All warehouses. All recently leased through shell companies. One in Long Beach, one in Vernon, one in Carson. Can you tell which one? I asked. Not from the photo alone. You'll have to check all 3. Catherine organized her team. 20 FBI agents, split into 3 tactical units. Each unit would hit one location simultaneously at 5 p.m., 1 hour before Pemberton's deadline. Sarah and I were assigned to the Carson team, along with Catherine herself. Chen Wei insisted on coming despite everyone's protests. They're my family, he said. I won't sit here while others risk their lives for my mistakes. You'll stay in the vehicle, Catherine ordered. If we find them, you can reunite after we secure the area. Understood. He nodded reluctantly. We spent the next 6 hours preparing. Tactical briefings, equipment checks, planning for multiple scenarios including armed resistance and hostages rigged with explosives. At 4:30 p.m., the teams rolled out. The Carson location was an industrial complex near the 405 freeway. Old warehouses scheduled for demolition, perfect for hiding hostages. We parked 3 blocks away and approached on foot. Catherine's tactical team moved with professional precision. Sarah and I hung back, weapons ready, watching for threats the FBI might not expect. The warehouse loomed ahead. No lights visible. No obvious security. Too quiet. I don't like this, Sarah whispered. Me neither. Catherine's team reached the entrance, breached the door, entered with flashlights and weapons. 30 seconds later, Catherine's voice came over the radio. Building clear. No hostages. No guards. It's empty. My stomach sank. The radio crackled. Team 2 reporting. Long Beach location is empty. Another crackle. Team 3. Vernon location is... Wait, we've got something. Multiple heat signatures. At least 6 people inside. Moving to breach. Hold position, Catherine ordered. We're en route to your location. We ran back to the vehicles and drove to Vernon at speeds that would have gotten us arrested under normal circumstances. The Vernon warehouse was in an even more industrial area, surrounded by factories and shipping yards, isolated from residential zones. Team 3 had the building surrounded. Their commander met us at the staging point. 6 heat signatures confirmed. 3 appeared to be stationary, possibly hostages. 3 are mobile, probably guards. Any indication of explosives or traps? Catherine asked. Negative, but the building's only got 2 exits, front and back. If we breach both simultaneously, we can catch them in a pincer. Do it. But remember, the hostages may have been modified. Approach with caution. The teams moved into position. Sarah and I stayed with Chen Wei near the vehicles. He was practically vibrating with tension. Please let them be alive, he whispered. Please. The teams breached simultaneously. Flashbangs, shouting, gunfire, then silence. Catherine's voice on the radio. Hostages secured. 3 guard down. Building secure. Chen Wei let out a sob of relief. Thank God. Thank God. We moved toward the warehouse. Inside, FBI agents were untying 3 people. Chen Wei's wife and 2 daughters. They looked terrified but unharmed. Chen Wei ran to them, pulling them into a desperate embrace. His wife was crying. His daughters were holding on to him like they'd never let go. It's over, he kept saying. It's over. You're safe. But something felt wrong. The guards. 3 of them, all dead from the FBI's breach. I knelt beside one and checked his vitals. Sarah, look at this. She came over. The guard's eyes were wrong. Pupils dilated. Irises showing those same golden flecks we'd seen in Pemberton. Enhanced, she said. Yeah, but they went down easy. Too easy. Maybe the modifications made them overconfident. Or maybe they weren't trying very hard to win. Catherine was checking the rest of the warehouse. No sign of Pemberton. No computers. No research equipment. This was just a holding location. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Murray. Frank. Pemberton's voice warm and amused. I understand you've rescued Ambassador Chen's family. Congratulations. It's over, Pemberton. Chen Wei's testifying. Your operation is finished. Is it? Tell me, Frank, did you find it odd that my highly trained, genetically enhanced guards went down so easily to an FBI tactical team? Ice water in my veins. What did you do? I gave you exactly what you wanted. The ambassador's family, safe and sound. A heroic rescue. A happy ending. He paused. Or is it, Frank, do you know how long genetic modifications take to manifest symptoms? No. 72 hours. That's how long I had Chen Wei's family before you found them. More than enough time to administer the treatment. They don't know yet, of course. The modifications are already working at the cellular level, but the visible effects won't appear for another day or so. You're lying. Am I? Ask yourself, why would I kidnap them just to let them be rescued? Why wouldn't I kill them or take them with me when I knew you were coming? His voice went cold. I modified them, Frank. All 3 of them. Chen Wei's wife and daughters are now test subjects in Phase 4, and there's nothing you can do to reverse it. We have doctors. You can watch them die. 50% mortality rate, remember? And even if they survive, the neurological effects will destroy who they were. Chen Wei wanted to testify against me? Fine. Let him testify while he watches his family suffer for betrayal. You son of a bitch. I'm a pragmatist. The Chun protocol requires leverage. Now I have it, permanently embedded in the bodies of everyone he loves. Pemberton's tone became almost cheerful. Give the ambassador my regards. Tell him I'll be thinking of his family from Beijing. And Frank, this is what happens to people who betray me. Remember that. He hung up, I looked at Chen Wei, still embracing his family, at Catherine, coordinating her team, at Sarah, who'd heard enough through the phone to know what was coming. He modified them. I said quietly, "Can we test for it?" Sarah asked. Amanda could, but if Pemberton's telling the truth, the modifications are already done. Testing them just confirms what we already know. We have to tell Chen Wei. I know. We walked over to where the family was reunited. Chen Wei looked up with tears of joy on his face. "Mr. Murray, we did it. My family is safe." I knelt beside him. "Ambassador, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Pemberton just called. He claims that while he had your family, he administered genetic modifications to them." Chen Wei's face went from joy to horror in an instant. No, that's not possible. They're fine. Look at them, they're fine. The modifications take 72 hours to show symptoms, I said gently. He had them for more than that. His wife looked confused. What is he talking about? What modifications? "We need to get them to a hospital," Catherine said. "Run tests. Figure out exactly what was done, and if there's any way to reverse it." "There's no way to reverse it," Chen Wei whispered. "I read the research. Once the genetic changes are made, they're permanent. All we can do is manage the symptoms until they die." His younger daughter started crying. "Daddy, what's happening? What did they do to us?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Nothing. You're going to be fine." But his eyes met mine, and we both knew he was lying. We transported the family to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where Amanda Foster was waiting with a team of specialists. They ran every test imaginable: blood work, genetic sequencing, cellular analysis. The results came back 6 hours later. All 3 women had been modified, the same genetic markers we'd seen in the Helix victims and the Georgia subjects. Enhanced immune response, accelerated cellular regeneration, neurological restructuring, and a 50% chance of dying within the next year. Chen Wei sat in the hospital waiting room, staring at nothing. His family was in examination rooms being monitored. The doctors had started them on experimental treatments that might slow the degradation, but no one was optimistic. "I did this to them," he said. "I brought Pemberton into our lives. I trusted him. And now my wife and daughters are going to die because of me. This isn't your fault," I said. "Isn't it? Every choice I made led here. Every compromise. Every moment I looked the other way because it was convenient." He looked at me with dead eyes. "You asked me earlier if I would still testify. The answer is yes. Pemberton took everything from me. The least I could do is make sure he pays." "Ambassador." "No, I'm testifying. Tomorrow. I'm giving Catherine Walsh every piece of evidence I have, and then I'm going to sit with my family for whatever time they have left." His jaw set with determination. Pemberton thinks he's won. He thinks he's broken me, but he's made a mistake. What mistake? He's given me nothing left to lose. The next day, Chen Wei gave his testimony. 6 hours of detailed evidence about Project Chrysalis Global, financial records, facility locations, government contacts, communications with Pemberton. It was devastating, complete, irrefutable. Catherine Walsh immediately issued arrest warrants for Pemberton and 17 of his associates across multiple countries. She coordinated with Interpol to freeze his assets and shut down his facilities. The Chinese government, embarrassed by the international exposure, raided Pemberton's Guangzhou facility and arrested everyone involved. 300 test subjects were freed and provided medical care. The military officials who'd approved the project were quietly removed from power. Similar raids happened in Russia, Brazil, and several African nations. Within 48 hours, Pemberton's global empire was collapsing, but Pemberton himself had vanished. His private jet never made it to Beijing. His bank accounts were emptied hours before they were frozen. His communications went dark. He knew, Catherine said, staring at maps showing his last known locations. He knew Chen Wei was going to testify. He knew we'd come after him. He planned for all of it. "So where is he?" Sarah asked. "Could be anywhere. He has resources we haven't found yet. Safe houses we don't know about. He could hide for years. Or he could be planning something else. I said, Pemberton doesn't run. He adapts, rebuilds, comes back stronger. Then we'll be ready when he surfaces. But days turned into weeks with no sign of him. The trail went cold. Pemberton had disappeared as completely as if he'd never existed. Chen Wei's family deteriorated quickly. His wife started having seizures 2 weeks after the modifications. His older daughter developed severe migraines and memory loss. His younger daughter, the medical student who'd first witnessed Pemberton's atrocities, seemed to be handling it better, but the doctors warned it was just a matter of time. Sarah and I visited them in the hospital when we could, brought food, sat with Chen Wei while he maintained his vigil. Any word on Pemberton? He asked during one visit. No, he's gone aground. He'll surface eventually. Men like him always do. They can't help themselves. Chen Wei looked to the window at his wife, sleeping under medical supervision. When he does, promise me you'll be there. I promise. And Frank, when you catch him, make it hurt. I didn't know how to respond to that. 16 years as a PI, and I'd never been asked to make someone suffer, to pursue vengeance instead of justice. I'll make sure he pays for what he's done, I said carefully. That's not what I asked. I know. Chen Wei smiled sadly. You're a better man than I am. Even now, after everything, you still believe in justice over revenge. I believe they're not always the same thing, but I also believe revenge destroys the person pursuing it. Then I'm already destroyed. What's a little more damage? 3 weeks after Chen Wei's testimony, his wife died. Organ failure from the modifications. The funeral was quiet, attended by only family and a few close friends. Sarah and I stood in the back, paying our respects. Afterward, Chen Wei approached us. Thank you for coming. I'm so sorry, Sarah said. She lasted longer than the doctors expected. Strong woman. She fought until the end. He looked older, hollowed out by grief. My daughters are still stable. The doctors think they might be among the 50% who survive. But even if they live, they'll never be the same. Ambassador? Please call me Wei. I'm not an ambassador anymore. I resigned. Couldn't represent my country while my family suffer from my choices. What will you do? I asked. Stay with my daughters. Help them through this. And wait. His eyes went hard. When Pemberton surfaces, I'll be ready. I may not be a detective or an FBI agent, but I have resources of my own. Contacts. Information networks. I will find him. Frank. One way or another. Let us handle it, I said. Let the system work. The system? He laughed bitterly. The system gave him diplomatic immunity in Boston. The system let him operate for years without oversight. The system is how he built an empire of human experimentation. Forgive me if I don't trust the system anymore. He walked away before we could respond. He's going to do something stupid, Sarah said. Yeah, we should stop him. How? He's right. The system failed. Pemberton's out there, free, probably planning his next move. Chen Wei lost everything because he trusted us to protect his family. We did protect them. We rescued them. And they were already modified. We were too late. I watched Chen Wei get into a car with his daughters. We're always too late. That night, back in our apartment, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Chen Wei's family, about Pemberton's modifications, about the empire we dismantled and the man who'd escaped. Frank. Sarah's voice in darkness. You okay? Thinking about the case. We did good. We shut down Chrysalis Global, freed hundreds of people, got Chen Wei's testimony. And Pemberton's still out there, planning, rebuilding. We'll catch him eventually. Will we? Or will we just keep escaping, keep hurting people, keep winning while we pick up the pieces? She was quiet for a moment. Then, you're thinking about Caroline. I'm always thinking about Caroline. 16 years, Sarah. 16 years before I caught her killer. How many people did he hurt in that time? How many could I have saved if I'd been faster, smarter, better? You can't think like that. You'll drive yourself crazy. Maybe I'm already crazy. Maybe we're both crazy for doing this job, chasing monsters who always seem to be 3 steps ahead. She rolled over to face me. You want to quit? No. Then stop second-guessing yourself. We do this job because someone has to, because the Chen Weis of the world need people who won't give up, even when the monsters escape, even when we're too late, even when the system fails. She squeezed my hand. Pemberton's out there, but he's running now, not building. His empire is destroyed. His facilities are shut down. His money is frozen. We've won. Doesn't feel like winning. It never does. Not completely. But it's enough to keep going. I pulled her close. When did you get so philosophical? Married a detective who jumps out of buildings. Had to develop coping mechanisms. Despite everything, I smiled. My phone rang. At 2 a.m. A phone call is never good news. I answered. Murray. Frank, it's Miles. You need to see this. I've been monitoring Pemberton's known associates, and I just intercepted a communication. Someone's arranging a meeting. Who? Daniel Webb. He's coming back from Mexico. Daniel Webb, the criminal who'd escaped at the end of the inheritance trap. Our first case this season. Pemberton's West Coast operator. When and where? I asked. Tomorrow night. A private estate in Malibu. And Frank? The communication mentioned something called the Convergence Protocol. I don't know what that is, but it sounds big. Send me everything you have. And Miles, good work. I hung up and looked at Sarah. She was already getting dressed. Webb's back, she said. Yeah, this is a trap. Probably. We're going anyway. Definitely. She smiled grimly. Save number 18 is probably coming. I'm counting on it. The name's Frank Murray, private investigator. And somewhere in Malibu, Daniel Webb was planning something called a Convergence Protocol. We were going to find out what. And this time, someone was going to pay. If you enjoyed the Chen Protocol, please hit that like button. It helps more people discover Frank Murray's investigations. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss episode 9, where Frank and Sarah investigate the mysterious Convergence Protocol and confront Daniel Webb's return from Mexico. Pemberton is still in the wind. Chen Wei's family is dying from genetic modifications. And now Webb is arranging a meeting in Malibu that could bring all of Season 2's villains together for one final confrontation. And make sure to ring that notification bell so you're alerted the moment the next episode drops. Frank Murray Season 2 is racing toward its finale. The pieces are moving into position, and everything is about to explode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next investigation. Murray and Murray Investigations. Some cases haunt you, some cases change you, and some cases leave scars that never heal.